mengenai di kampung Kuching. So, aku sekolah Mangon, sekolah sekondari, toh aku merat matrikulasi Labuan. Matrikulasi Labuan pajin aku nak bujuk masuk family kami. Ain aku belajar nampur belanja beken. Most of the time I spend my life at my village, and that's where I get to know about my culture, about my people. But then when I go out, I step out from my village, then I started to see that there's a lot of culture out there. So in a way that makes me appreciate more about culture. So if you check my village, we have a lot of colorful events, especially during Gawai. My name is Claudius. My villagers call me Tukang Rantek, which means photographer in Midaya Kuching language. I consider myself a portrait photographer, although most of the time I do fashion photography shoots. Sometimes I also do wedding photographies and event photographies. I feel awkward because normally I'm the one who directs people, directs the model, what they should pose and what they should do in front of the lens. But now, like what I always tell them when I'm shooting them, be a star. So now I'm pretending that I'm a superstar being interviewed by you. I came from a simple family. Both my parents, they work in the government, and now they are retired already. So we are not rich, but we are not poor either. There's always food on the table. So that teaches me a lot about life, because most of the time we actually have what we need, but not what we want. Because if you're talking about what we want, the world is not enough. There can never be an end to a grade. So that is the most important lesson that I learned from them, which is be thankful for whatever you have. And also another lesson that I learned from them is that family first. No matter what you do, family first. Friends come and gone, because throughout your life, throughout your course of life, you'll meet a different group of people, but family stays. So, family first. My first camera, I was 16 years old when I rent my first camera. It was a simple film camera with a Kodak film that time. During the time, I didn't know anything that has film. We call it Kodak. Because the time is simple, because we tend to generalize things. Four-wheel drive, camera, Kodak. Yeah. Even until now, people always ask me, the camera, dah habis Kodak kah? Yeah, even though it's using the digital format, but people still call it dah habis Kodak when they want to make fun of me. The simple film camera, I have to use it for my secondary school project. Everyone has to do that. Some of my classmates, they have to do it, so they collect money together, then they buy it. But for me, I just rent it on my own, then the remaining films, I use it to capture the moments at my family. I honestly have no idea how to compose a good picture during that time. And when I look at it, the composition is out. I am embarrassed of it. But, well, for me, memories matters most. That's the most important thing about those old images. I bought my first phone with camera. If you remember last time, the black ice, the small phone called black ice. Yeah, those are my first phone. So I capture a lot of images using that camera phone. It was VGA, but for me during the time it was the best camera. And even now we still enjoy the videos that I captured using that small camera. It was only when I started working, I bought my first camera. It was a point and shoot Olympus TG1 point and shoot. I captured that. I captured a lot of images using it from my brother's wedding, from my sister's wedding, into a lot of events when I go offshore for work. my family members are into photography. I'm the first one. But that is a good opportunity for me because they are the ones that I train with. Because when I first started photography, especially when I started using the manual rangefinder made by Leica, it's very difficult for me at first, but I keep on training with my niece because during the time she was still small, she likes to run a lot, so I have to catch her with my manual focus rangefinder. So that provides a good challenge for me. Photography because I want to immortalize the memories. In simple word, it means that I want to make sure that the memories lives on. Because we only live here for a while, then after that we'll move on to a different phase of life. When I grow up, there's a lot of important moments around me, but none of those are being captured because of we do not have any camera during that time, and none of my family members they are into photography. That is why that compels me to capture the moments at my family. Notice that I can create great images. That's why they hire me to capture the moments during their wedding, during the engagement, and all of the other events. And even the recent event that I did was the portrait photo shoot for all these models from my village. Yeah. Those are the things that I do because I want to make sure the memories of my villages, of my people, they live on, so that the next generation they can see it. A good support, especially from my parents, because my parents they never stop me from doing what I love most, and they know that I love to do photography, so they don't stop me from doing photography. And also they also benefit from it because most of the time when we have a family event, I always bring my camera because I like to shoot all those wonderful moments in my family. One of my friends who is also a loyal customer of mine, her name is Stephanie Nani Nakalut. She has been hiring me ever since that I became the photographer for her daughter's birthday. That's the first job that I did for her. And then after that, after they had the second daughter, we had another photo shoot. My family, they know my dreams. They know that I want to become a great photographer someday, so they keep on supporting me. Last year I had my first exhibition at Leica store. I had my first exhibition entitled Offshore Life. It was thanks to Chilun of Leica Malaysia that I'm able to have my own first exhibition. It was a career-defining moment for me because it was something new. It shows that I'm being acknowledged as one of those Leica photographers now. I attended a lot of courses. Most of it is organized by Leica family. One of the courses that I attended is the one that is being held by Leica and Matthias Heng, the Singaporean Leica photographer, and then by Fulvio Bugani, an Italian Leica photographer, as well as this course, a street photography course with Craig Metco, an American Leica photographer. All these three Leica photographers, they have a different personality. Then I met this very famous Leica photographer. His name is Thorsten Overgaard. I flew all the way to Germany, Nuremberg, because I want to attend his course. So he taught a different school of thought regarding how to play with lights, because he is always on the search of a good light. He likes to find the magic of light. So that was 1 week long course. I find that it's very interesting how these approaches is different. And from there I realized all of these people have their own personal vision. Some people, they like to play with artificial light, some people don't. Then I met people like Edwin Lay. So he taught me a different school of thought altogether. He taught me how to play with the studio lightings. And that is actually the first time I played with studio. So I was hooked. I love to play with all those lights and strobes. And then I realized from there, because starting from the street photography, I slowly moved to portraiture photography as being taught by Thorsten, and then slowly I tailor it to become what I am today, which is the mix between fashion and portrait photography. And my my passion in terms of photography would be capturing the beautiful ethnics of Sarawak. And that is why if you notice all of the works that I've done in my Instagram, in my Facebook, and in my website, I focus solely and mostly on the colorful ethnics of Sarawak. It came from my friends because I always posted my picture at the internet, at the Facebook and Instagram. So from there I get the feedback from them through their DMs and then also the messenger. And most of the time they tell them to play with light in this way because most of the time I always use the natural light. Then one of them they told me to use the artificial light, and also one of them tell me to focus when I take literature. I need to focus more on the eyes, because a portraiture without a proper shot at especially on the eye level, it's not alive as well. Because you can tell the differences between a good portraiture and a bad portraiture. But sometimes I do receive a bad comment. Like for example, some of them they said that I should not take street photography like this, because when we come to street photography, there are a lot of school of thought. But one of the most common that I heard is that you should not direct a street photography. And because of that, initially I was taken aback. I thought that, I'm not doing anything good. But then a while, after a bit of reflection to myself, then I realized it's not that I cannot do street photography. It's because of my inclination to do a portraiture that makes me love to coordinate my subject in a way that is more appealing for the viewers. The biggest challenge that I faced in my early days back in 2017 was to change the mindset of people around me, because during that time people still thought that I'm shooting for fun, it's just a hobby, when I want to do some commission works. I started with black and white photography actually, because during that time I was only using the Leica monochrome, the one that can only shoot black and white. That idea is a bit far-fetched for some people, because most of the time when we talk about digital photography, it's always in color. But the one that I use during that time is in black and white. So I shoot a lot of black and whites. And if you notice, a lot of my works that I've posted in my Instagram is actually black and white. I still have that black and white. But in terms of the commission jobs, most of the time I shoot in color, because I realized that in my community, in the circles where I'm living, they only prefer color photography. When we talk about difficult clients, there's always a story behind it, because some people, they are very, the harsh word is OCD, they are very detailed. They are very detail-oriented person. But when I reflect back, why they are that way is because they are afraid of something. They do not want they do not want the image to turn out bad. So the key thing here is communicate. You need to communicate with them to find out what they want. For me, the most difficult part in becoming a photographer at Kuching or Miri is the competition. Because if you Google Kuching or Miri photographer, you can easily find 100 plus photographers at each city. So as a client, it's difficult for you to choose which one is the best photographer. Of course, if you don't have any limitation of money, you can always hire the best photographer, those award-winning photographers. But when we talk about everyday people like you and I, like if we want to organize an event, we always wanted to have a value for money. So that's where the challenge came. So one way that we can go around this problem is that you can always, when you do your job, you have to do your best. You have to deliver extra. You have to give the value that those people wanted from you. Like for me, how I give extra is that I'll make sure that event, because a photographer is not just an observer in an event. The way I handle photography in with weddings or engagement is that I try to make the event as lively as possible. So if my client is happy, I'm happy too. My favorite subject to shoot is people, especially my family. I like to capture the wonderful moments inside my family. Every time we have a gathering, so those are my favorite subjects. I will ensure that there's always a people's expression inside there, because for me, those expressions tells 1,000 stories. Because it's not like what you can see, like what you can explain in words. Especially the faces of the bride in joy and the face of the people in sorrow. They are two totally different expressions. Those are my favorite subjects. For me, the most rewarding part of becoming a photographer is that when I saw the responses from my client. Because I shoot for people, when I look at their response, when they look so happy looking at the image that I created for them, for me that's the best part. That is the best reward that I receive. I love music, man. This one I credit it to my father, because my father is a rock star. Why I call him rock star? He knows how to play guitar, play bass, play piano, and then he also can sing. So there's a strong influence of music from my father's side. He came from Siburan, by the way, Kampung Masaan. So when I was in university, I made a band with my friends. There's three of us. We like to play Muse songs like Plug In Baby, Starlight, Nights of Sidonia, and also Green Day, American Idiot, Will Over the Broken Dreams, and all of those songs. We always go for Battle of the Band. There was 3 times we go for Battle of the Band. All those 3 Battle of the Bands, we get number 3. I think the reason behind those number 3 is because we call ourselves Taruh Dari, which means 3 boys in Bidaya. So maybe that's the reason why I always get number 3. As the guy, as the Tukang Rantek who make the image look beautiful and handsome, because we are being bombarded by those social medias saying that we are not enough, we are inadequate. Whether you think you're handsome or not, you are not handsome enough. There's always a product for that. I know the intention is they want to sell their product, but yeah, I hope when they look at the image that I created of them, I hope they will feel that they're handsome and they're beautiful. And because that is how I want to immortalize their memories. Wow, an assignment. Okay, let's see what do we have here. My challenge for today is fashion photography. Wow, this is interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, let's go. So one way for you guys to test whether that lighting is good or not for the skin or for portraiture is to check with the back of your hand. So you can see the back of your hand here, the hand looks flattering. Yes, that is where you can see that the lighting is good. Let's go for contrast over here. So you can see this direct light here. It does not look very flattering, you see. You can see that there's a pore. You can see all this harsh lighting. That's not good for portraiture. So if you want to have good portraiture, make sure you have good soft light. And this would be the best place for me to start with our challenge today, which is fashion photography. a good spot over there. Just now I saw the fallen leaves, so I'm going to bring the girls over there. Okay, let's go. Picture will stand out from the average by putting in more emphasis on the subject, by emphasizing the beauty of the subject itself. Because if you don't really emphasize them, you make them look bad. It does not reflect the subject. It reflects on the photographer itself. always evolve, you always change, you always try to put in new elements, because if you don't evolve, you extinct.